Hi, everybody. Hope you guys are doing good. Go ahead and come on into the room. Settle on in. Come on and settle on in. Okay, I will return to that later. Hi, everybody. I hope you guys are well. I am. Oh, see, I was out here playing and messed up my necklace. I was dancing a little bit and singing before I got on camera. Hi, I'm here for happy hour. Hope you guys are here for happy hour too. Happy hour is a reading where, I'm getting used to introducing the cards into happy hour. Hi, Mama Ware, good to see you. Did you already go to your concert? I was thinking about you because I know that she's here this weekend. So I hope you're doing good and I hope your travels were safe. So we are here tonight for happy hour. This is where we shoot the shit. If you are open to libations, we drink together. I do have my glass of Prosecco here next to me. And we just talk about current events. I'm doing it a little different tonight. Tonight, we're going to be talking about astrology. And specifically, we're going to be talking about this current Neptune retrograde, as well as tonight's full moon in Capricorn. Even though these are two very different placements, they speak to each other in terms of theme. And so I wanted to, I'm in a ritual, so I will watch the replay. Just want to say hi and I love you. The concert is tomorrow. All right, you travel safely and take care. Thank you for popping in. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about the energies that we're going to be encountering, not only as a result of this full moon in Capricorn, but also as a result of the Neptune retrograde. Probably not going to be on here very long tonight, just to be honest, because it is a full moon. And there are things that I do on a full moon. And I want to make sure that I have the energy to be able to focus on those things. Give me 1 second. I want to do this on Instagram as well. So this may cause me to be a little distracted because I'm trying to go live on Instagram at the same time that I'm on YouTube. And I also have notes. So I'm going to be reading notes from my computer. So there may be a couple times where I'm not exactly looking at you all. Hello, Instagram. Good to see you. So again, we are here for a discussion about the Neptune retrograde. Those of you who are familiar with astrology, you should know that retrogrades are not inherently negative, but they are a time for pause and reflection. And with Neptune being a planet of mystery and illusion, it being a planet that is about our connection to the spiritual realm, and it is very much about our just the wounds of the past, things that we need to let go of. This is a time where we really need to reflect on those. Also, we have tonight's full moon in Capricorn. Now, I'm probably going to talk more about the full moon in Capricorn than I talk about anything for two reasons. One, I just taught a class last night about the Neptune retrograde, which is part of the reason why it's still heavy on my mind and on my heart. If you were interested in seeing what I talked about in that class, as well as getting a little bit of a mini lesson around Vodou and a particular Loa, make sure you join my Patreon. Make sure that you purchase that class on my website, soleilconjureshop.com. But the Capricorn full moon, so there are particular themes. You guys know that full moons are about release. They're about clearing the space to make way for things that are new. Every full moon has particular themes, right? And the Capricorn moon is, I think it's also known as the buck moon, if I'm not mistaken. The themes around it are the themes of Capricorn. When we think of Capricorn, what do we think of? We think of maturity and self-mastery. We think of responsibility versus release. Being aware of what you are responsible for, and that awareness being a symbol of your initiation into leadership, and then also being aware of the things that you need to release. And that's related to accountability. We misuse the word accountability quite a bit, but accountability is just about knowing what you are responsible for, and, owning up to it, standing in it, right? So this is a moon that really is very much about emotional maturity, our path with emotional maturity, what emotional maturity is bringing us, and what a lack of our emotional maturity is cutting us off from. These are the things that we're probably going to be thinking about and that are going to be coming up for us under this particular Capricorn full moon. Okay, so it's really important that we are aligned to this energy and aware of the themes. Some really good questions to ask yourself, because this is Saturn energy, right? Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. And so when we have a Capricorn full moon, Capricorn being the father of the zodiac, being the stern teacher, the karmic lord, the timekeeper, right? This is a full moon where we think about whether or not we need to bring structure and a goal-oriented slant into our emotions, right? A lot of times when we think about emotions, we think about them in terms of their erratic nature, how they disrupt things, the chaos that comes from them. But if we can use our emotions in a way that allows our maturity to take form, right? That can bring structure into our lives, that can help us become goal oriented. If we can tap into that very naturally sober energy of Capricorn during this time under this full moon, this will really set us up in order to be able to navigate these next 5 months of the Neptune retrograde in a way where we don't go crazy, right? Because again, a lot of heavy things come up under Neptune retrograde, right? Some of the things that tend to come up under Neptune's retrograde, let me go through my notes because I don't want to mess this up. Let's see. Again, we are looking at one of the big things that happens under Neptune's retrograde is that we are confronted with the ways in which we may have been using our spirituality for escapism or to feed certain delusions, right? Because again, Neptune is the planet of mysticism, mystery, and illusion. Think about Pisces, which is ruled by Neptune. We poke fun at, and I know I'm guilty of this, we poke fun and make fun of Pisces for being delusional, for being disconnected. But again, that's because of that Neptune influence. So a rooted and a grounded Pisces is actually not delusional. They're just able to see beyond the veil. They're able to be really naturally intuitive in a way that allows them to tap into divine connection, right? But a misaligned Pisces is someone who's prone to escapism, is someone who's prone to force their fantasies onto reality. And that's that disconnected energy that can come up. So for a lot of us under this current Neptune retrograde, we are going to be forced to face spiritual illusions, right? We are, and this shows up in multitude of ways. So for us on an individual level, hi Sylvia, good to see you. For us on an individual level, we are going to be forced to look at the areas of life where we may have been glamored. And when I say glamored, it can be magical. It can be the revelations that someone in your life has been doing work over you to glamour you, right? To force charisma, use spiritual charisma, right? Very much of forcing you to be overcome, swept up by them and their bullshit, which is low-key what glamour magic is. Or it can be on a broader sense, because again, Neptune is a generational placement, right? What are generational placements or planets? They're planets that are transpersonal. They are planets that their impact is felt more on a collective than the individual, even though there is individual impact, right? And so for a lot of us, there's a collective disillusion that's being melted away around spiritual leaders, around false light workers, around seeing the intention behind people who present themselves as spiritual, but maybe using spirituality for personal gain, for financial gain, for manipulation, or just to feed the ego. We don't talk enough about that, right? There are a lot of spiritualists who do this work for the ego hit and the ego boost. And people who move that way are very much going to be exposed between now and December 7th when this particular retrograde wraps up and go into shadow. So that's a huge part of the reason why it's really important to use time to ground yourself under this energy of the Capricorn full moon, because so much of what this full moon is about will give you the foundation to be able to navigate the rest of this Neptune retrograde, right? So as we're in this retrograde, it's really important for us to really reflect on the times in our life where we have been glamored or overcome by people's ego that they presented as spirit or spiritual download, right? I'm from the Bay Area, and do I want to go there? I will go there. I'll go there. There are a lot of like hippie, hipster type chicks that want to be seen as deeply spiritual, but they're tapped more deeply into their ego than they are the other realm, than they are spirituality. So these are the women that will walk up to you and they'll say, God just wants me to give you a message. And it's the same message that they've given to every woman that they've crossed paths with that day, right? That's an example of ego dressed up as spirit, right? Really paying attention to those kind of things, but also on a personal level with Neptune retrograde, thinking about the false beliefs that a lot of us carry about our own spiritual gifts. Now, there's something that I used to say a lot, and I'm gonna start saying it again. I was coerced and low-key shamed into not saying it, but it's true. And it's something that I tell to people a lot, especially when they're early on their spiritual journey, and they tend to be like wowed by my divination skills or certain skill sets that I've honed over the years, my wisdom of the herbs, etc. Everything that I know how to do, if somebody is spiritually disciplined, they can probably teach themselves. I'll say it again, everything that I do, if someone is spiritually disciplined enough, they can probably learn how to do themselves. Now, is it gonna look the way that it does from them? No, because I'm me. And the goal is not to become another version of Soleil. We are all individuals, right? But some of us aren't standing in our own spiritual power because of lies that we've been fed about our spiritual gifts, because of misperceptions that we have about self, because of lies that we've been told about who we are and our worthiness over time. So if we use this energy of the Neptune retrograde correctly, we will be able to melt away that fog, right? And the discipline of Capricorn, the structure of Capricorn, allows us to be able to do that in a way that will keep us rooted instead of having us float off into the ether and engage in further escapism, right? So again, these themes around the emotional maturity of Capricorn, of thinking about who we are and the legacy that we want to leave behind, right? A huge part, because when I first started my spiritual journey, I'm not gonna lie, I was scared. I was scared of everything. I couldn't trust my own voice. I spent months in my mentorship program not speaking. People didn't even know what I sounded like, just because I lacked confidence around my spiritual gifts. And I thought, like a lot of people when they're new to this, that this is something for other people. It's not for me, right? But again, that discipline, that connection to regimen, that commitment to showing up and trying over and over again, even when I got the answer wrong, is what got me to a space where I am the person that you see now, who comes on here a couple of times a week and gives spiritual advice, and who reads the cards accurately, and who is now teaching literally dozens of other women how to do the same for themselves, right? I would not have gotten here without discipline. And for a lot of people, spiritual discipline is the thing that's going to help you cut through the bullshit, cut through the fog, right? So again, going back to this Capricorn moon that is tonight, I really hope that everybody's watching has some sort of working that they're doing for themselves. And here's the thing. A lot of us are tired. A lot of us are dog tired. So even if that work is sleeping, know that that's work. You have to rest in order to dream. A tired spiritualist or an overworked spiritualist is of no benefit to anyone. So when we talk about self-care, when we talk about recuperation and regeneration, those are all necessary parts of the work. Filling your cup is a necessity towards success. So if you are somebody who's like, because here's the thing, some of us, and I'm one of them, the last few moons, our spirits have been like, sit your ass down, right? There's a Loa that I've been venerating lately, and I went to venerate her today, and she low-key let me know that she wasn't even expecting me to venerate her today. She was expecting me to do it tomorrow, and she wanted me to rest today. So what do you think I'm going to do when I get off of this live? I'm going to go and I'm going to sit my black behind down, right? So when I say I hope you have some sort of working scheduled for the Kalisa, you never messaged me. Kalisa, you never followed up with me. And I don't recall seeing your order. I know on Sunday you mentioned having placed one. So we got to get this worked out, okay? I'm going to put my new email in the comments. I'm so glad that you showed up because I was thinking about you since Sunday. I'll put my new email in the comments. Please email me, okay? Email me or text me. You should have my business number. We got to get this situation figured out, okay? What was I talking about? What was the last thing I was saying? Oh, yeah. So when I say I hope that you have a working planned, when I say working, it doesn't have to be big and extravagant. You don't have to have 8 candles in, sacred geometry or none of that. It can be as simple as you having written a prayer for yourself. It can be as simple as you preparing a tea that you know is going to help you sleep well so that you can have that memory retention around your dreams, right? But make sure that you're doing something for 2 reasons. A, to give yourself the energy that you need in order to align with this full moon in Capricorn. But B, again, spiritual regimen, discipline. Discipline is a necessity, and discipline is what's going to help us navigate this Neptune retrograde, especially because there is so much mystery that's being dissolved. There is a lot of mental confusion. And even though the Neptune retrograde is here to help us dissolve the fog in the mental and spiritual confusion, sometimes, depending on where Neptune is in someone's chart, these retrogrades may bring out the asshole in them, and it may cause them to do the opposite and to try to force us into further spiritual confusion. So you having the spiritual discipline to set things up for yourself so that over these next 5 months, you are grounded enough to be able to navigate through clarity, or not clarity, to stand in clarity and to navigate any kind of confusion that's around you is going to be a necessity, right? Capricorn full moon happening during a Neptune retrograde is here to teach us about what it looks like to be the calm in the middle of a storm. And that's what a lot of us are going to have to figure out in order to survive this Neptune retrograde. What does it look like when we, regardless of what's going on in the world around us, what does it look like when we make the decision that no matter what's happening, we are going to be grounded, we are going to be calm, we are going to be mature, we are going to think about legacy in the face of environments or people who are choosing to think about impulse. That is what Capricorn full moon during a Neptune retrograde is here to help us figure out and to move through. There are a couple people in the room. I'm gonna read some comments, but if you guys have any questions for me, go ahead and put them in the comments. My request is that your questions are about the Capricorn full moon or spiritual detoxing or the Neptune retrograde. If you want me to answer a personal question, because this is happy hour, I will only answer personal questions if a love offering is sent. But questions that are related to the topic, no problem, okay? Give me one moment so that I am, let's see. Hi, Allie, good to see you. Hello, Tashana. Hello, Bertal. Yes, it is going to do it soon, absolutely. Sylvia, a Neptune retrograde while I'm experiencing my first Saturn return. I got a lot of work to do. So here's the thing. I will caution you against looking at it as, woe is me, I have a lot of work to do, right? I have a godchild that does this a lot when they talk about their chart. They're actually on this live right now. And I'm trying to coach people into not doing that. Because here's the thing, we all have a lot of work to do, regardless of what's going on in our chart. But if we can focus on the nature of the lesson and look at the nature of the lesson as a gift, as opposed to a burden, that will take a lot of the stress and the strain of the, I love you, Patal, a lot of the stress and the strain of the lessons off of us so that we can embrace it with ease as opposed to shame. When I hear people say, like, I got a lot of work to do, it feels like they're shaming themselves or like they're talking about themselves like they're inherently broken or messed up. And so I want you to stray away from that language, okay? Because it's not really helpful. And you, of all people, if you are going through your Saturn return, you really should make sure that you're doing a working tonight, especially if you know your Saturn position and you are aware of the nature of the lesson that Saturn is here to tell you, right? So use this full moon to really purge any of the blockages that you may have that's going to make it difficult for you to stand in or embrace that lesson. That will be my wisdom for you, Sylvia. Does anyone else have any questions? If not, then I'll go ahead and start. I'll pull a couple of cards about what we need to be thinking about or what we should be focused on for this Capricorn moon. Oh, this is good. If you all have not tried the Chloe brand Prosecco, give it a taste. I highly recommend it. All right, no one's putting any questions in the comments, so I'm going to go ahead and I'll start pulling a couple of cards. So first question I'm going to ask, and I'm only going to do a quick 4-card spread. Can I do a class on Neptune return? I read up on it, but I would love to hear a lecture from you. You got it, Bertal. Absolutely. You absolutely got it. We just did Neptune retrograde, so it'll probably have to be a couple of months because I really want you guys to sit with these lessons around retrograde. But yeah, I can do a return class. Absolutely. I'll do a general class on returns, and then I'll do a Neptune return specifically. I think that's a great idea, Bertal. Thank you for that. See the kind of wonderful things we learn about in charm school? My mentorship is kind of lit. I don't know if you guys have caught on to that, but we have fun. We learn a lot. And because I love to teach, I'm not a person that's resentful of it. I actually enjoy teaching. It's a lot of work for me. Teaching is a lot of work, but because I enjoy it, it's really easy for me to create lessons that are timely. So yeah, I will definitely teach that for you. Absolutely. But let's get into the cards. Please tell me what the Capricorn full moon is here to teach the collective as it relates to spiritual detox. What energies do we need to focus on during tonight's full moon and the energy within the days preceding the full moon? Give us the wisdom we need. Any wisdom shared is deeply appreciated. All righty. And again, if you have any questions, go ahead. Don't be shy. Put them in the comments. So remember when I was just saying that my Loa told me that they really don't want me to do anything tonight other than to rest and to sleep? 4 swords. A lot of us, so again, that Neptune retrograde energy telling us about what needs to, the kinds of fog and confusions that are in our life and what we need to cut through in order to get to clarity. Some of us, and it's interesting because this is a message that's been coming up in my weekly readings for months now. Some of us are severely overworked, and part of the reason why we can't see clearly, why we're stretched thin, why we feel like we're being pulled like taffy, is because we're not resting properly. right? Four Swords is a card of rest after battle. And why do we rest after battle? So that we can avoid what? Battle fatigue. Battle fatigue is real. And if you don't address battle fatigue, it can lead to early death. That's why Four Swords is a card about getting sleep when you can so that you don't meet the final sleep, right? A lot of us who are watching this, either live or in the replay, are fucking exhausted, like bone tired, exhausted, like soul tired, right? And so asking and calling on rejuvenation, and also looking at the areas of life where you need to release something because you have overcommitted to things. And that overcommitment means that you are being stretched too thin. For some of us, here's the thing about that tightrope nature of the Two of Pentacles. When you're balanced and you haven't fallen to one side or the other yet, it can feel very powerful. Managing and juggling a bunch of stuff can make you look very impressive. We are a culture that glorifies multitasking, even though multitasking means that you don't do anything well, right? Jack of all trades, master of none. But the other thing about being stretched thin this way is that you may break. You could easily fall off of that tightrope very, very quickly, right? So rather than continuing to test your luck, go ahead and ask your spirits, where can I create areas of softness? Where can I create opportunities for rest? What do I need to put down because I'm juggling too much right now? And it's making it hard for me to rest peacefully. This is a full moon where we need to be calling in more opportunities for creativity. We need to be calling in more opportunities to create something new for ourselves. Some of us have lost touch with our creative flair, with our creative abilities. And so asking the spirits during this Capricorn full moon, during Neptune retrograde, what needs to be released so that I can get back in touch with my divine feminine, with my creativity, with my ability to birth new things, new opportunities in my life, right? Because the being stretched thin and the overworking has taken you out of your magic of abundance. And so the only way that you are going to get there, Emperor, is by being disciplined about carving a space for it, right? I always say the same way that successful people plan their goals and their achievements, they also plan their vacations and their opportunity to rest. The same discipline and drive that you bring into working hard and showing up for other people, you need to bring that into scheduling opportunities for peace, rest, and reflection for yourself. So one of the main things from these four cards that I'm gathering is that during this full moon, we need to be thinking about the areas of life where we are overstretched and overcommitted, and how that is putting us in a position where we cannot fully recuperate, right? We cannot rejuvenate and replenish our energy reserves because we're too stretched thin. We have too many things going on, right? This is very much a warning about the fact that if we have not already started to experience battle fatigue, we are going to feel it very, very soon if we don't get real about creating, through discipline and structure, opportunities for us to rest and to tap back into our creative endeavors. So that is the message about what we need to be focused on and releasing for this full moon. I'm going to ask one more question about spiritual detox, and then I'm probably going to wrap up for the night because I'm not seeing very many questions come into the comments. All of this was on my mind today. Look at the synchronicity. Look at the synchronicity. It was on your mind and it's coming up in this reading, and it's probably something that's been coming up for other people. Hit those scales if this has been coming up for other people. Hit the roses if you are in alignment with Bertal and if you are sharing a similar revelation or breakthrough, okay? All right. And if you are drinking wine along with me, take a sip of your wine. I'm going to go ahead and shuffle and ask about what we need for spiritual detox. Ancestors, angels, ascended masters, spirits to walk with me. When it comes to spiritual detox, When it comes to purging the things, the attachments, the views, the lies, the confusions that no longer serve us, when it comes to us tapping into the spiritually and mentally sober energy of Capricorn during this full moon, what do we as a collective need to be focused on in terms, there we go, of spiritual detox? Anyone some share is deeply appreciated. My spirits are messy. So I am going to read the 2 cards that fell out, but I'm also going to go ahead and pull 4 cards. Give me one moment. I told you, Bertal, look, your sister Tashana agrees with you. She's been going through the same thing. Hit the rows if other people have been experiencing the same thing as Bertal, okay? Alrighty. Some of you all are too fearful. And this, again, more messages that have been coming up in previous readings. Some of you guys are so fearful of the negative things that can happen if you take up space, if you step out on your own, if you move through confidence and independence, that you actively create those deficits for yourself, right? And that hyperfixation on what could potentially go wrong, not only causes it to manifest, but it's draining you, right? I talked about the fatigue earlier, but a lot of that fatigue is deeply mental for a lot of y'all. And a lot of it has to do with it's like you're recovering over and over again from your negative thoughts and it's not helping you. But in reality, yes, you are responsible for those negative thoughts. But also the reason why it's easy for you to feed those negative thoughts constantly is because some of you guys need to be pruning your environments. Some of you guys are still hanging around people who are scarcity minded. They have a win-lose mentality instead of a win-win mentality. And because of their internal insecurities, they believe that keeping you as lesser than or keeping their foot on your neck is going to bring them power in some way. So a part of this is about your personal responsibility and you thinking about how it is you talk about yourself and how you talk about your fears. Don't be going around telling everybody your fears. Under this Neptune retrograde, we shouldn't be doing that, period. But especially under this Neptune retrograde, where mental and spiritual deception from unevolved people is going to run rampant, don't be going around telling everybody about your fucking fears, okay? Be careful, okay? Don't share your fears with everybody. But we have the Ace of Swords. When you focus on your fears, when you hyperfixate on your fears, they become something that imprisons you. And a lot of you guys are holding yourself hostage by continually thinking about the things that scare you, as opposed to focusing on and thinking about the things that can bring you opportunity, right? That can create new paths for you, that can open roads for you, right? Try to train yourself to focus more on what you want and less on what you fear. Not only because the more you think about your fears, the more you manifest it, but that exhaustion that we talked about in the last spread, a lot of it is mental, right? You are constantly having to recover from the ways in which you beat yourself up and the ways in which the oversharing of your fears with other people makes you prey to attacks from other folks. And you're constantly, you're resilient, you recover, but nine of wands is a warning of like, stop it, get out of the way, stop letting people attack you, quit doing that shit, right? So try to use this energy of the full moon to really release the fears that you have, A, so that you're not talking about them all the time, but B, so that they don't run you and run your life. 9 of Pentacles. If you can do this, this positions you to show up in the world in a way that's much more powerful, much more aligned, much more independent, much more successful. This will allow you to live in alignment with that vision of your higher self that you fantasize about when you're not busy hyperfixating on your fucking fears, right? So be careful. The 2 cards that fell out, King of Wands and the 5 of Pentacles. Some of you guys need to prune your environments, right? You are stuck in the same situation. You're dealing with a lot of poverty because you're surrounded with poverty-minded people, right? And they see the charisma in you. They see the success in you. But because they themselves are competitive, right? King of Wands is the card of the athlete. But because they themselves are competitive and they have, again, a win-lose instead of a win-win mentality, they want to keep you in subjugation because for them, they can't win at the same time that you win, right? A real King of Wands is comfortable with being around a whole bunch of successful people, right? Because again, they're enrolling people in their vision. They understand that success is communal. So if everybody on my squad eats, that means that I eat too. We all lift as we climb. That's a real King of Wands. Debilitated King of Wands believes that the only way that they can be successful is if someone else is suffering. And some of us, I'll throw myself in there, some of us are still in conversation with. We are still telling our business with. We are still celebrating our wins with people who want to keep us in poverty mindset. So now I understand why this 8 of Wands over this this 8 of Swords over this 9 of Wands is here. This is a full moon that asks you, along with this Neptune retrograde, to prune your environment, right? And it may not be like you just got to stop fucking with people altogether, but if you know somebody's insecure and they're always going to minimize your efforts, if you know somebody is always going to come up with a reason to tell you why you shouldn't go after that thing that's going to bring you more money, go after that thing that's going to bring you more recognition, if you know somebody is always going to try to plant a seed of doubt in you, why the fuck are you telling them about your dreams and your vision, right? And then if you don't have anyone that you can safely communicate with around you, why are you surrounded by a bunch of people that don't want to see you win? Prune your circle. One of the things that I've learned from gardening, from being obsessed with plants, from being, now a flowery girl because of the Loa that I work with, is that you extend the life of something by pruning it. Cutting off the dead leaves and the debris and the bullshit extends life. It brings rejuvenation. So again, a lot of you guys it's easy for you to fall into beat up and shame and replay your fears over and over again in your mind because you're surrounded by a bunch of people that only want to speak fear into you instead of speaking life into you. Prune your social circle. Stop hanging around people who don't want to see you win. Of course you can't sleep. Of course you don't believe in yourself. Okay? I love you all. I hope that this was helpful. Again, I don't want to be on here too long tonight. I just wanted to come and give a quick little message about the full moon in Capricorn as well as the Neptune retrograde. If you guys want to learn a little bit more deeply about the Neptune retrograde, about the kinds of issues that come up, what retrogrades are, just point blank period. And if you're interested in learning a little bit more about Haitian Vodou and the Loa, again, I taught a class where I taught a working with a specific Loa. I'm not going to say who it is. If you want to know, then you got to take the class. But join my Patreon. That's where you can get access to the class. If you joined at a paid membership, friendship circle, or higher, you'll have access to this particular bonus class. The class is also going to be up by the end of the weekend on my website, soleilconjureshop.com. For those of you who are trying to work on your relationship with your finances, there are 2 opportunities to get help with me around that. Golden Shadows reading, which is a financial breakthrough reading that is prescriptive. So it does come with spiritual advice or a spiritual regimen to help you. That is at an introductory price. until July 17th. After that, it's going to go up to its intended price. So book that reading if you want it, but there's still time to enroll in this next round of Rich Spirit. This next round takes place July 14th through the 17th, and the deadline to sign up is July 12th at midnight. Link to that is below, so join that WhatsApp group. All my links are below, Charm School, everything. For those of you who are interested in Charm School, keep your eyes and ears open. I will be doing an informational, because it's been years since I've done one. It was still the tarot mentorship when I did my last informational. So I'll be doing another one on July 24th. Keep your eyes open for that link. Rest, release, do your purges tonight, clean your home, but rest, because it's very, very, very much needed. I will be back here Sunday evening for the weekly energy reading. So I hope to see you all back here then. And until Sunday, take care. Everybody have a great night. Okay.